If you clicked on this video, you probably already know that 1200 calories is too low. After all, you're not a toddler. But what about 1500 calories or 1700 calories? Could that be too low too? Is that not enough food? Today I'm breaking down 5 warning signs that you're not eating enough food. Ignoring these can sabotage your diet, throw you off track, and even wreck your fat loss results. And make sure you watch until the end of the video because I'm gonna solve this all for you and show you the perfect way to set a calorie goal so you can lose weight eating plenty of food. Number 5, you're not losing any weight. Okay, this is gonna sound counterintuitive, but eating too few calories can stall your weight loss or even worse, lead to weight gain. And no, it's not for reasons you may hear online like starvation mode. Here's what's really happening. If you set your calorie goal too low, you'll find it really hard to stick to. This is one of the main challenges my weight loss clients face before they start working with me. Many of the clients that I work with come to me eating under 1500 calories per day, and they're frustrated that they can't continue to lose weight. Their progress is stalled. However, under further inspection, using tools like tracking their nutrition, we find that they're not consistently eating under 1500 calories. This is usually closer to 2000 calories, 2200 calories. And those are the days that are going untracked or they get missed. So what tends to happen is they set their calories lower than they need to be, and then this calorie target leads them to being hungry. And then this hunger results in unintentional snacking, larger meals, things that are untracked, and just generally going off track. Not every day, but some days. And in some cases, even binge eating episodes. They get so burnt out on their restrictive, lower than normal calorie diet that they throw in the towel and they eat whatever they want. Another classic example that you're probably familiar with is weekend sabotage. You do really good throughout the week, and then on the weekends, you do whatever you want. And that's not because you don't have any willpower. It's because you ate on your plan towards your calorie target that was too low to begin with throughout the week. Then you go completely off the rails on the weekend, going out for drinks and for food and maybe a different food setting, like a social setting where there's foods around that you're not typically used to eating. You overeat them and you completely offset the work that you did throughout the previous week. Now, if this sounds like you're following a pretty strict low calorie diet and not seeing the progress that you would like to see or expect to see, and maybe, just maybe, you're eating a little too much on the weekends or unintentionally snacking to offset how hungry you are or how bored you are with your diet, then raising your calorie intake may be the solution. By setting more realistic calorie targets and eating a bit more food, you'll stay more full, you'll be more energized, and you'll be able to stick to your plan more effectively through time, which may lead to slower fat loss in the short term, but over the long term will lead to better results. Now, speaking of rates of fat loss, the second warning sign that your calories are too low is the opposite problem. You're losing weight too fast. Let's talk about warning sign number 2, rapid weight loss. While rapid weight loss sounds like a good problem to have, it's a surefire sign that your calories are too low and it's going to backfire. Why? Because you're probably losing more muscle than you need to be, not just fat. Acceptable rates of weight loss are closer to half a pound to 2 pounds per week, or 0.5 to 1% of your body weight per week. And you want to lose at this rate because if you're losing any faster than that, you're going to be losing more muscle than you need to be. When you're in a calorie deficit, your body is taking energy from your natural stores. And it's going to tap into your fat tissue, but also your muscle tissue if you do things too quickly. And even if your goal isn't to become super muscular, losing muscle isn't ideal. Muscle mass is what gives you that toned, athletic look that many people are going for after a fat loss phase. Plus, having more muscle will actually maintain or in some cases increase your metabolism, meaning you burn more calories at rest throughout the day. And you want that, you want to maintain that. Thankfully, on a weight loss plan, you can influence the balance between losing fat mass and muscle mass. You do this by following a strength training plan that has some resistance training in it and eating enough protein while making sure you're eating enough calories while staying in a calorie deficit so you can lose fat and maintain or in some cases even gain muscle. The key here is aiming for a calorie deficit that's around 10 to 20% below your maintenance levels, which will support that healthy weight loss of around 0.5 to 2 pounds per week without sacrificing unnecessary muscle mass. Now, this may seem conservative, but you don't want to go on a diet and just become a smaller version of yourself or quote unquote skinny fat. Maintain your muscle, get leaner, and you'll be in a much better place. Now let's move on to sign number 3 that your calories are too low. decreased gym performance. If you notice that your workouts are suffering and you're super low energy and you can't lift as much as you used to, this is a clear sign that your calories aren't high enough. To get stronger, build muscle, and perform well in the gym, your body needs sufficient fuel. And when you're under eating, your workouts will take a hit. Here's what to look out for. You feel sluggish and tired during your workouts, even if you slept well. There's a regression in your lifts, which means you're lifting less weight, not more. Or you're noticing longer recovery times. There's that lingering soreness that lasts for days and days. These are clear signs that your calorie intake may be too low. Now, there could be other things at play here. You're training harder than normal, or you're not sleeping as well. But if you find your strength or performance in the gym is declining too fast, or it is consistently, try increasing your weekly calories by around a 5% bump until you find a balance so that you're still losing fat but maintaining your gym performance. And don't forget, the quality of those extra calories will matter as well, especially if you want to build muscle and recover properly. So focus on unprocessed whole foods with an emphasis on more protein. Food sources like lean meat, eggs, dairy, fish, and legumes are going to support your muscle mass goals while losing fat. But also make sure you're getting a balance of carbohydrates and dietary fat, which are going to be essential for fueling your workouts and maintaining or enhancing your overall health. Here's the fourth warning sign: hunger and constant cravings. Hunger is often seen as a normal part of dieting, but to a certain extent, it doesn't need to be. In fact, if you're constantly hungry, tired, and miserable, or thinking about food, your calories could be too low. Hunger is your body's natural signal that it needs more energy to function properly. It's a complex biological process to make sure you survive. When your body doesn't get enough calories through a consistent period of time and your body fat levels start to drop, it's gonna sense that it's not getting enough energy that it needs and increase things like the hormone ghrelin to make you a bit more hungry, intensify cravings, which is gonna increase your appetite and your motivation to eat, which is going to be tough to counteract while you're on a diet. When you add this hormonal change to the psychological aspects of dieting and craving and wanting more food and food that you don't typically eat or aren't allowed to eat, this can trigger overeating and create a vicious cycle that can be tough to break. Let me know if this sounds familiar. You go on a diet and you lower your calories. Maybe you even cut out certain food groups like carbohydrates or go low fat, or you just stay away from traditional higher calorie foods or non-diet foods like pizza, soda, cake, ice cream. You survive a few days. Maybe you even lose a couple of pounds. But after a while, you're hungry, you lose focus, maybe even a little short-tempered, aka the hanger has set in. After a while, you can't take it anymore, and maybe you order a whole pizza to yourself or eat a whole sleeve of Oreos. You fall off for a few days, completely undoing all the work you did on your low-calorie diet. This experience is so common for dieters, it's even been named the diet roller coaster. The dieting roller coaster isn't just about hunger, it's also about a lack of flexibility. It's the low calories, but also the psychological discomfort that goes along with being on low calories. Your calories are being restricted and you've sworn off certain foods. There's no room for a slice of cake at a birthday party or a glass of wine at a dinner with friends. And maybe you can do this for a while, but you're not a master of willpower, and it tends to backfire on you in social situations where you don't have as much control, and if you go in craving and hungry for these foods that you've sworn off. But there's good news. If you can eat a bit more food on a fat loss diet and not exclude any foods, there's no good or bad foods, just better or worse choices within that diet, then you can still make progress without being on the dieting roller coaster. You'll have more flexibility to enjoy fun foods while keeping your cravings in check. Now, this doesn't mean just eating a bunch of fun foods or non-diet foods. That's not going to work either. You do need to still emphasize whole foods and making the most of your food choices. That's going to allow you to feel full and satisfied while not blowing your calorie budget. You got to find that balance here, and that's what's going to set you up for success in the long term. Let's move on to our last warning sign here, which is number 1, low energy. If you're constantly feeling tired or struggling to focus or even experiencing dizziness, your calories are probably too low. Now, this can get even worse, especially over extended periods of time. If you notice things like hair loss, changes in menstrual function, or decreased immunity, meaning you're getting sick more frequently or for longer, then you're probably not giving your body enough energy or enough nutrients that it requires. Now, keep in mind, it's important to remember that to lose fat, you're going to need to be on a calorie deficit and taking in less calories than you're burning. But that doesn't mean that we're restricting calories at all costs. Calories are not the enemy, they're essential. You need energy from the food you consume to perform cognitive tasks and vital physical functions like digesting and absorbing your food, and to boost your immune response. And when your calories are inadequate, your body needs to prioritize where it utilizes this energy, which means prioritizing things like keeping your blood circulating and your heart pumping and keeping you thinking. But this does shift your body to survival mode and make sure it's utilizing energy for things that are only necessary, which means you're not going to have a ton of energy. Now, to mitigate these negative side effects, it's important to, while on a weight loss diet, aim for a moderate calorie deficit. For most people, this is going to be 300 to 500 calories below their maintenance levels, or that 10 to 20% below that we talked about earlier. Now, this may slow down your fat loss, but that's okay because you're going to be in it longer for the long run with much better energy. Now, you may be thinking at this point in the video, okay, this all sounds good. I need to eat more calories, but how much do I eat? Let's talk about how to find the perfect calorie target. Let me show you right now. Instead of just following a 1200 calorie diet that you could find on Pinterest or social media, you want to personally calculate your total daily energy expenditure, or your TDEE, which is going to be the maintenance level of calories that you burn throughout the day. You can do this through many simple calculators online. Typically, you'll enter your age, your body weight, and your height. It'll calculate your basal metabolic rate, which is the amount of calories you burn just existing based on those variables. And you'll factor in your activity level to assess the total amount of calories you're burning or expending throughout the day. Once you get this output, you'll then subtract or go 10 to 20% calories lower than your maintenance calories to be in a deficit. So example, if your maintenance calories were around 2100, you'd reduce 300 to 500 calories, putting you around 16 to 1800 calories per day. Then on a week-to-week basis, you can start to adjust your calories based on what's happening with your energy levels and what's happening on the scale. Now, this can be good, but in the Dr. Mark method, we teach our coaches to set maintenance calorie levels a different way. Typically, we get our clients to track their normal intake for around 3 to 5 days, including a weekend day. There's typically a discrepancy between these numbers, and if you do a textbook calculation that seems way too high, it's probably because it is, especially when you consider and when you start tracking your intake. This is going to be naturally lower anyway due to human factors. You're estimating a lot of things. So track your intake, get a sense of what those average values are. And if you're already losing weight through this tracking period, that's probably closer to a slight deficit under maintenance levels, and you can shoot for that as well. And that's it, folks. That's how to set your calorie target, as well as 5 warning signs that your calories are too low. Make sure to set the right calorie target and make sure you're getting enough food so you can lose fat, but also improve your health over the long term. As great as all those tips are, if you're really serious about starting a nutrition coaching business, the next thing I'm gonna have you do is check out this video I've linked up right here. I got another video that shows you 5 signs that you're burning fat and not muscle. You can learn all about that in this video right here. So check it out now, and I'll see you in the next video.